It's Lisa with Whispers from the Wreckage. Welcome back. Now, before I get into the episode, you should know that this is take 2. Again, all a learning experience. It turns out that I didn't have my mic turned on during the first shoot. So I did do the whole entire thing, filmed it all. There's no sound, not one bit. So let's try this again. We left off on Sunday, up until the year of 2000. So the first 5 years of my life. Left off that I got adopted. I'm just gonna pick right back up from there. All my aunts and uncles came with us to the adoption, and my grandma. I remember them renting a big, like, I'm gonna say it's rented. We could have owned, somebody in the family could have owned it, but I think we rented a big, like, passenger van. We all went together, and that's like, that memory just sticks out for me. I don't remember much about the ceremony side of things, or I remember us all being in this giant passenger van, and on the way back home, one of my aunts gave me a pink bear. That's what I remember. And so let's just get into it. And I'm gonna go year by year, and just things I remember about those years. You know, my life wasn't all bad. Like it wasn't all bad. So, you know, uh, and I want to preference that. Like I was adopted into an amazing family, a fantastic family. Um, and I know that it's because of the family and the things I've learned and things I've experienced, and um, just all of it. I know that I am the woman that I am today because of the family that adopted me. So I was blessed, absolutely blessed by this family. Another great memory I have is when it was Christmas. Anybody who knows me knows I love Christmas. I love snow. Um, and it was Christmas. And before I go into dates, all I want to say, my father gave me these dates and called to verify. If he's wrong and you're watching this and you're like, that didn't happen that year, that happened this year, blame him. Blame him. I'd rather blame me on those. Never mind. um, so for Christmas, we we came down Um, we came down to Christmas morning, and um, we opened up all our gifts, and then my dad's partner went outside and came back in with this big box and was like, "Lisa, look what Santa left outside for you. It must have fallen out of his sled, or was too big for him to bring in by himself, or um, and it was a giant kitchen set, like a kitchen set, but it also had like a spot for babies, like a baby doll kitchen set. And anybody who knows me or knew me when I grew up, I was always into baby dolls. I wasn't really a Barbie, Bratz. I think LOL dolls might have, no, not LOL. Polly Pocket dolls were around. Um, I wasn't really into any of that. I was the baby doll person, which really plays into my character as a very caring person. Like anybody who knows me knows I care. Um, some say I care a little too much, but I care. So like taking care of people is something I love to do. I had this giant thing, and then part of our tradition was we opened up our gifts at home, and then we went up to my grandma's house to open up other gifts that were from, my aunt, my uncle, and my grandma. They lived a few houses up. So we went up there, and that same year, my aunt and my uncle gave me this giant vanity set. Now, it's probably just a little kid set, but to me, it was just a giant vanity set. So I got two huge presents that year. And of course, I got other presents, but like those were the two that really stood out. And um, you know, that Christmas stands out so obviously. I remember almost every one of my Christmases, but that Christmas stands out so much because that year was just like it was about me. It was, you know, I wasn't sharing the spotlight. It was, this is for you. Santa left this for you. Santa. It was focused on me, where I shared most of my life, as you've seen or you will see. I've shared it and always been the hidden one. Like the spotlight was always on somebody else. Um, I do want to quickly state that if I seem a little off right now, the first episode that I did film was very emotional, so I'm just regaining my momentum. It'll get better. Anyway, back to um back to the story. Like that was one of my best memories, like one of the best Christmases that I could remember. Um my dad always made Christmas special. Like he we never had the same tree twice. Every year he'd come up with some crazy thing and design our Christmas tree. Um and it just got better over the years. Like he did a fantastic job at it. Um like one year he did all purple and it was so beautiful. Like it was purple and silver and oh, magical. And I think I love Christmas for many reasons. Like I love the family side of things. I love the lights of it. I'm a big person in lights. Like they're just so pretty. Um I love the coldness of it. I love snow. I know. But I love snow. And I love Christmas. And I think my dad has a lot to do with it. Um, so I say all that to say, like, life wasn't always bad, you know? And even through the bad that we'll get into, there was so many good things. There was so many core memories and core experiences that I had. Um, Now, something I did forget to mention on the last podcast episode from Sunday, and I'm only mentioning this because it's a running joke in the family, but um, in 1999, I'm sorry, but anybody who knows the family knows that where this is going. The whole entire family. This was before I got adopted, before I was even like really coming to stay with like the family. Like my brother was, but I wasn't. Um, Everybody in the whole entire family, including my brother, got to go to Disney, and I didn't. All right, that's it. All right, I'm moving on. I'm moving on. Anyways, okay, that helped me a lot get back to where I needed to be. So we're just gonna jump into it. Um, Something I realized I didn't do in the first episode, or yeah, the first one I filmed, is definitely give a trigger warning right here. I'm about to talk about abuse, all different kinds of abuse. So if you can't handle that or you're not comfortable hearing about it, obviously, I'm not going to go into crazy details about it, but if you can't handle it, I understand. Um, and I'll see you on the next episode. But for those who are ready to hear the truth about my life and ready to take a walk in my shoes for the next 20 minutes, let's go. All right. I did cry in the first episode. Hopefully I don't cry again, but we're just going to keep this just in case. And we're going to get into it. So, in the house that we lived in when we first moved in, well, I say first moved in, when we were adopted. My great uncle owned the house. He lived on the first floor. My dad lived on the second with his partner. That's where we moved into. It was 3-family home. So when we moved in, my dad had a bedroom. We had a living room, bathroom, my bedroom, kitchen, my brother's bedroom. Um, in at some point, um, at some point, my father and his partner had decided that they were going to change it from a 3-family to a 2-family. So like we joined the third floor and the second floor together. Um, when we did that, my dad moved upstairs. I moved upstairs. We had another bedroom there. Um, and then we had a living room, dining room, kitchen. My great uncle moved into my old bedroom, and my brother stayed downstairs. Yeah, so that was in 2002. So here we go. Um, in 2002, I was 7. And somebody that I grew up with, and on the first version of this, we named him Ralph. So we're just going to keep the name Ralph. Um, had stayed the night in my bedroom. And that night, Ralph sexually assaulted me. And, you know, I didn't know what it like meant. At that time, I was an innocent 7-year-old. Um, like I said, I played with baby dolls. I thought my father's name was Dad. I didn't, I was innocent. And Ralph threatened me, and so I didn't tell anybody. Um, the following day, after this took place, later in the day, um, at this point, I was still in Pampers, or not Pampers, pull-ups, when I went to bed because I wet the bed. No, I'm lying. I wasn't in yet. It's after this point I went back into pull-ups. Um, anyways, my dad's partner came into my bedroom the following day, either to put me to bed or, pick clothes out for me to wear for the day. Or I want to say it was later in the day though, so I don't know. He came into the bedroom, and I think it was to put me to bed. And he saw just blood all over the bed. Um, and he asked me about it, and I didn't know what to say. Just so I so eventually they just thought it was my monthly cycle coming early, because I've been told it runs early in my biological family, so that they just ran with that. She got her cycle early, and that's how it was. So, well, Ralph continued to do this few times a week for the next several years. And from there, you know, things started getting worse. And, you're like, well, how can things get worse? But so Ralph, Ralph started beating me. Um, every chance he pretty much got. Um, Ralph would beat me if I, said the wrong thing, did the wrong thing, was watching something, at that point he didn't want to watch, talked back, stood up for myself. Um, it was pretty much anything at that point. Any chance he got. And I wasn't the only one he was hitting. Like, I wasn't the only one he was beating. Um, and he was beating adults. He was beating adults. He was. I don't know if he beat my like other. I want to say he did, but like I don't know that for a fact. So and like, and again, I'm very, very, very like upfront. Like, I'm only telling my story and from things I've seen and I've witnessed and I've experienced in life. Like, that's it. I'm not here to say, oh, he could have or he did, or and make false assumptions. Um, I watched him beat adults. I watched him beat me. I witnessed it. Um, and two major incidents um, play in my mind regarding Ralph beating me. Um, we all used to walk to school together. We all lived in the same area. And one day, Ralph was like beating me on our way to school. And some guy in the area witnessed it and chased Ralph all the way to the school. I think it came out that he was an undercover cop, or not undercover, but like off duty. I could be wrong. Maybe that's what he said. I don't. I remember something about a cop came up. Maybe that's what he said just to get him to stop, and whatever. I don't remember. Um, and the guy chased him all the way to the school. Then I remember another situation where we were walking back to our area, like our neighborhood, and the crossing guard that was there was watching him, like, while we were walking up the road to where she crosses everybody. She was watching him, you know, hit me and push me, and I was in tears by the time I got to her. And I remember she just forced us to stop. Like she made me sit there and wait, and I think she made Ralph stay too. And then she took us both home and spoke to our parents and basically said what she witnessed. Um, that's like something I can remember. Uh, and like I said, this was the life. Like this is like. Anyways, I'm gonna introduce another abuser. Um, and at this point, it was a he wasn't my abuser yet. Um, the abuser that's coming into play. Um, so I'm only going to speak on things that I've witnessed during this time period. Later on, he'll come into play as my one of my abusers in my life. But right now, we're going to talk about um, how I witnessed him abuse others. My dad's partner. Um, During this time period, like when we had the second floor, um, he was very verbally abusive and mentally abusive to my father. Um, and I could remember times of him just screaming and yelling at him and just horrible, like name calling and horrible. And then I remember one day they got into it and somehow he broke the light above where they were standing and just glass shattering like from the light bulbs all over and him screaming and yelling and punching things and it got bad and it did settle down. um, we were gonna adopt, not we, my parents were gonna adopt um, a little baby boy. And during that time period, I feel like things were kind of quiet-ish. Now, obviously, we didn't adopt the baby. You know, they prefer to keep children with biological families. So, the baby's grandmother came into the picture, and she ended up taking him. But during this time period where the baby was there, the abuse between them, I won't say disappeared, but it was much less than when the baby wasn't around. Um, and I remember one situation where the baby was crying and nobody had gotten up to get him, so I went and got him and I brought him into my bedroom and we were jumping on the bed together. And um, how my room was set up was I had my desk like at the edge, like at the foot of my bed. I could sit on my bed and be at my desk. And he had fallen and smacked his head on the corner of the desk, and it busted open and gushed blood, like horrible. And I remember not wanting to be in trouble. And I knock on the door, and my dad and his partner are screaming like they ran downstairs. They're trying to hold water and apply pressure, and they're like, "What happened? What happened?" I'm just like, uh, I don't know. He must have. I found him on the floor in his bedroom. He must climbed over and smacked his head on. It was on wheels on the metal part of the wheel or whatever. And they had to take him to the hospital and get stitches and the truth came out, um, that we were jumping on the bed. He busted his head on my desk. But I remember being so scared in that moment, and like I just didn't want to be in trouble. And looking back, it's like I didn't want to be in trouble because I didn't want to get hit because I was already living it. I was already going through that abuse. I just didn't want to experience it anymore. Like I didn't, you know, not that, my father or his partner, you know, hit me to discipline me, but I just didn't want to be in trouble. It's not like I pushed the little boy off the bed, he fell. And it was scary. So these were my years, my life for, the next couple of years. Um, to give some clarity on the years, I was when I was 7, I was it was first grade, summer into second grade. Like that was my year 7. Well, next couple of years, again, sexually assaulted a couple times a week. Uh, During this time period, I think in second grade, Ralph had sexually assaulted somebody else that our family knew. And then in third grade, um, Ralph sexually assaulted my best friend. And I witnessed it, but I was able to stand up for her. Like I exposed him to her parents. I think I got my dad involved. I know I got my dad involved. And then he handled the situation further, um, with who needed to be involved. But, I stuck up for her, but I couldn't stick up for myself. It was like, and I just hope we didn't they moved away and we didn't really keep in contact, but I hope all the time that, she doesn't remember that. Um, I can't remember anything happening to Ralph. Like, I just, maybe thinking about it, it's like, I didn't think about this when I filmed this episode the first time. But like maybe me recording it for her, like maybe I thought it'd be the end for me. Like, oh, he's gone now, he's gonna get in trouble and just be gone. And no. So now comes the hard part where fourth grade rolls around. Um, and I'm still experiencing the same things. But it gets worse because Ralph starts making me sleep with his friends. Three that I can remember. And I swear I cried in the first version of this. Um, and I never disclosed that. Like this is the first time that people are actually going to hear the truth. Um, so not only was I being sexually assaulted by Ralph, I was being sexually assaulted by his friends and sexually assaulted by or and physically abused. So this whole time I'm like, when do I get to just be a kid? Like, when do I? This was just regular life. Like, we're gonna leave it there. Um, and we're gonna go on to our last segment of the show. Now, because I already filmed this, I did already pull my card. So it's mine. It says, what's your most cherished memory? And now I have so many cherished memories. Like, I don't know how to just choose one. It's hard. Like, one of my biggest memories, like, I have, and it's from this time period, that we're talking about. Me and my dad had gotten into an argument. Like, he probably said no to something I wanted to do, or something whatever. I couldn't go spend the night at my friend's house, or my friend couldn't come over, or whatever. But I remember telling him, like, you're not my father. Like, you're not my father. And this man bear hugged me. And wouldn't let go. We got to the ground. I curled underneath, the dining room table, thinking he can't get to me, and he's bear hugging me. He's just telling me, I love you, I love you, I love you. And I'm like, you're not my dad, you're not my dad, let me go. I'm fighting him. And blood couldn't have made us closer. Blood couldn't have, you know, him making me, being my biological father, wouldn't have made him love me anymore. Like, I just felt unconditional love. And he hugged me all night long. Um, he hugged me all night long until the morning. And he wouldn't let me go. He would not let me go. We slept underneath the dining room table, and just him telling me I love him, he loves me, and me fighting and kicking and screaming until I fell asleep, telling him he's not my dad. Like, that unconditional love was like that's what you search your whole life for in a spouse, like that unconditional love. And you know, my dad was the first person I could say, like, I felt it. Like, not saying that nobody else loved me before him, not saying, anything to that effect, but like, this is the first time I can remember feeling that unconditional love. That's one of my biggest cherished memories. Like, and on the first version of this, I did do 3. Uh, so, you know, but I'm not gonna do 3 now. I don't want to take away from the first one. I cherish so much about my life. Like, I cherished growing up a couple of doors down from my family. Cherished spending time with my grandma. Cherished Sundays. You know, church and then bagels at grandma's, and you know, cherish so much of that. You know, but yeah, my dad. It took us so long to. I was always daddy's little girl, and then I became a teen, and well, if you're a parent, you know what teen, and a parent of a teen or an adult, You know what female or girl teen age years are. So like, it was not, and there was a lot going on, and we'll get there eventually. But I was not a good. But my dad's my hero, and so my cherished memory from childhood would be that. All right. Well, I stayed green the whole time. So, this next episode, I have an exciting guest. I can't wait to have them on the show, and we'll go into the next years of my life. Um, just don't get better. Um, but it's great having you. I'm surprised I was able to do this again with no crying. Um, and until next time.